The stratagem is up, down, left, right, down. Oh, hey, how's it going? Sorry, I was lost in thought with Helldivers on my mind. But we're here. My name is Kurosh. This is the KJP show where I talk about games, largely indie games, and review them, talk about them, have discussions of that nature, and ultimately I'd like to review them when I have good opportunities to play some games. But today's a little different. Today I would like to do a bit of impressions of an indie game I got a chance to try out that's in early access, and that game is Helskate. So let's get into it. We're going to do things a little differently. I've typically been structuring things where what I like about a game, what I don't like about a game, what I'd like to change about a game, what I played, what I liked, what I would like to improve. But especially with the impressions, I'd like to try something a little different. I want to do, and I'd love feedback. So if you have any thoughts on this, please let me know. But ultimately, what I want to do with this and maybe future reviews is I want to talk about who made the game, what is the game, where can you play the game, when can you play the game, and why do you want to play the game? And we're just going to go over those. School taught us that, the 5 whys, and so why not? Let's apply that here. I feel like that gets you the info you want, and it also helps me give us some structure to what I want to share with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. So who made Helskate? Helskate is a game made by a studio known as Phantom Coast. It looks like they're a fairly new indie developer studio, and this is their first game that they've been working on. And so they've put this game out. It's right now in early access. There's a lot of excitement with this being their first entry. I'm very curious to see what the studio's goals are going forward and what they hope to do. Now, the reason you're here is the what, right? So what is this game? What is Helskate? Helskate is a action skateboarding roguelite. I don't think you would have ever thought to put those 3 genres and styles of game into one space, but Phantom Coast decided to say, you know what, we're going to do it. We're going to be the first. And I think they definitely checked that box. Yeah, it's like I said, you take the role of this character who is like a demon kind of devil type of person that has a bit of like that teenage pro skater, Tony Hawk Pro Skater vibe, and you throw skateboarding elements into it. He's skating through the underworld and he's just going from level to level, going further into the depths, fighting more and more crazy things. This translates into the skateboarding and the action side where you play through it, you gain currencies in game, and you translate that to your favorite skateboards, to styles that you like, attacks that you can unlock, grinding, anything from grinding to doing crazy tricks, while also wielding a katana and a bunch of other stuff that I haven't even seen yet. And so the elements that come in that are roguelike fall into kind of like, if you're familiar with a game like Hades, you'll see stuff where every level, every section that you complete or are able to go through successfully, you are offered options to then choose modifiers or abilities that will change how then you go into the game further. And that's where this game takes that chemistry, takes those different mechanics and elements, mixes it with the pro skating aspect of it where you're traversing in various ways, like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater type game, getting tricks, doing all kinds of stuff that then feed into the actions and the combat that you're performing. So you could be grinding, charging up an attack, and then you do a spin on an enemy that's flying in the air, and you're like, what? Okay. And then you'll have your high score. When I mentioned this game was also in early access, some of the stuff that they've shown is some of the different aspects of it that I've been playing, which is I've mentioned Tony Hawk Pro Skater, for instance. And so in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, there was always, every level had a certain number of letters that you could collect. And there's different things like that this game then has translated and paid homage to. So as you go through a level, you'll try to find different letters to complete like the words that are available in the levels. So you can go through and be like, oh, on this level, I want to redo it and try to get all the letters. I want to get all the collectibles, or I want to maximize the points I could have gotten before completing it. And I enjoy it. I think that lends itself to and caters itself to those that like the Tony Hawk, the pro skating style of gameplay. Or if you're more like me, what you can do is that is more of a secondary thing. And if you're ever wanting to do it, you can do it. But you just focusing on like how far can I get in the combat side of it. And so that is, I like that it's neither is, one is kind of required, but to maximize that to the ability to play at a base level but offer a higher ceiling for those that are interested, I think adds some value to it, and is overall, some of my impressions, I think lends itself well to these two genres, and it takes the best of both of those and does something new with it that kind of amplifies both genres in a way. Now we get into the when. Now this game is currently in early access in early 2024. I believe that there's no set date yet for its full launch, but I believe this early access will lend itself to them working out any kinks, any issues, troubleshooting any bugs they may have. There was a few at launch with the early access, but they've quickly been patching it and updating it fairly regularly, and also been very receptive to feedback. So I'm hoping to share this, and I'm hoping folks jump on and give it a try and talk about what they definitely enjoy more or enjoy less or want to see more of or want to see less of. I think games like that take advantage of this really well have in the past have been Baldur's Gate 3 and Hades, both of which from Valerian Studios and from Supergiant Studios definitely took advantage of that early access period to work out those kinks that they have to make the final product, the launch product that most people will get their hands on and will probably be their first diving into this type of game. A very enjoyable experience. But for those that like to explore that journey along with it as it's going through its stages, like myself sometimes, I think it's an important conversation to have with your player base, given that this is such an interactive medium for video games. So now, where can you play this? I mentioned it's in early access. Oftentimes, games that are in early access typically will only limit that player base to the Steam catalog, which is widely available. I've been playing it largely on my Steam Deck. You can play this on PC. I do think some of my impressions of it are that it lends itself to playing with a controller really well. So I would very much recommend, whether you're playing on PC or if they open this up to other platforms, that you opt for controller play. I think the combination of playing a skateboarding game mixed in with the roguelite stuff you can play PC or like mouse and keyboard, but I think the skateboarding stuff specifically is very intuitive with kind of controller type settings with the dual analog sticks and the combination of the triggers and everything. So currently I would say Steam is the primary place of which you can play this, and they're intending to hopefully, I don't think there's much word on where they should play it, but that's where the early access comes in. Where do you want to see this played? And hopefully it succeeds large enough where it can go on like a Game Pass, or it can go on the Switch, where portability I think is a big factor, now that I think of it, in how easily this will be played, whether you're on Switch or Steam Deck or something like that. You jump in, do a quick run, log off, or you're mid-run and you're like, I don't want to lose this, so you're like, put this to sleep. I think that is a very good place to have it. Anything that you can play portably, I think would be where this would thrive. And now we get to the why. Why should you play this? It goes back to what I was saying. It mixes a combination of that skateboarding enthusiast mindset, as well as the roguelike mindset, which is you can pick. I think those two genres go really well together in that skateboarding games, oftentimes you're playing, in my experience, you're playing one or two rounds, you're going through a level or two here. They're very arcadey. And I think roguelikes are very session-based, so depending on however long a run is, or depending on how much time you have, you can get a little bit of progress in a run, and then hopefully continue from there on. I think the two of those together just work really well. The arcadey nature of skateboarding and the roguelike nature of what this is trying to go for. I think both are a really good combination, and it's got a good sense of humor. Like I've largely been talking about the mechanics and the way it works and where it works and why, but the feel of it, the music is definitely, being a skateboarding game, I think music goes really hand in hand with that, with a great soundtrack, and this one does not disappoint with that. It has a great soundtrack that they've produced in-house already, and I highly encourage you just to check that out, just for the music of itself. But also the style of it, it's got like that, it does remind me of Hades in some ways, in that it's going for that demon underworld kind of vibe, but it's doing it in its own artistic way, where it differentiates itself really well, and it creates this character that I think, and a supporting cast of characters which as you're going through roguelikes, I think having a lot of familiar faces that you go through really helps to just be like, hey, I'm in this world, I'm in this space, I'm in what this game is trying to do. I feel it, I vibe with it, I connect with it, and that just makes that connection a little bit stronger, in my opinion. And so that is my impressions of the game Helskate. It's coming, it's like I said, it's out now on early access. I encourage you to go try it out, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what others are thinking about this game as they play it. I don't think I've met anyone yet that in my social circles that have played it, but it's readily available, it's easy to play, it's easy to jump into and just kind of get your feet wet and grind out a few levels. Get the pun? Okay, that was a bad joke, I understand. But thank you again for watching. I appreciate the time, and let me know what you think, and I hope you come back next time.